When we last left off Radiant Black, Marshal had just murdered someone in a release of pent-up anger and frustration. How Nathan will react or cope knowing his friend has just become a murderer is a point of tension. With the intro out of the way, here's issue 14. We begin issue 14 with Nathan and Justine at an Airbnb. They have some pillow talk when Nathan gets up to make some coffee. He checks his phone and sees the news about what Marshal did. We learn that Radiant Black did not actually kill Axel, just incapacitated him. The police, however, still want to take Radiant Black into custody. We cut to a cringy monologue over some first-person shots of a crime spree. The person giving this really lame monologue is the new supervillain, Sheer. Sheer is actually Lucas, that annoying friend from Shift Chapter 3. He's talking to Shift, who warns him to lie low unless he wants to end up like Axel. Sheer ignores the warning and says he's going to double down on troublemaking. We cut to news commentary on the actions of Radiant Black. To my surprise, nearly everyone is backing Radiant Black's use of force, saying they're glad someone stepped up to the thugs. Marshal cracks a smile, signifying all this support is going to go to his head. He then gets some loud knocks on his door. It's Nathan who goes right into questioning Marshal. Marshal doesn't seem thrilled to have this conversation. Marshal goes into how he's only going to get started. He wants to put an end to the DIY villain YouTubers once and for all. Nathan tries to understand what's really going on, but Marshal just brushes off Nathan's inquiry, thinking he really doesn't care. Marshal brings up that Nathan's been avoiding him, even though he saved his life. Nathan explains he's obviously not trying to avoid Marshal. He just doesn't actually know how to feel or what to feel. Marshal confides in Nathan that he needs Nathan there for him because he's the only person who knows what Marshal's going through. Marshal not also feels like he's losing a friend, but also the only common thread to an impossible experience. Nathan laments he's struggling without a departure from being Radiant Black, saying it's now Marshal's thing, but that also the robot is trying to connect with him. At that, Marshal questions what Nathan just said. Nathan fumbles, he's not sure if the robot is worried or wants him back. The conversation is cut off by Marshal's phone. Marshal checks his phone and groans. Nathan asks if Axel died, to which Marshal says no, worse, crypto bros, and shows a Radiant Black NFT. That really is worse. On the next page, we see Sheer being a huge dork. Man, I really wish someone would just rock his shit. We then see Radiant Black rocking his shit. Radiant Black flies down and tells Sheer how he found him. He then asks where are the others. On the next page, Shift and Riley are packing up the base in fear of Radiant Black. Riley expresses his fear of Radiant Black, saying there's darkness to him and to forget about Sheer. Shift argues that he and Sheer do have some history and was effective at what he was doing. That's actually sort of interesting because I always wondered how Guy and a tool like Lucas know each other. Anyways, their packing comes to a halt when Sheer crashes into the room. Radiant Black flies down and asks who's next. Shift challenges him, but Radiant Black one-shots him with falling debris. Riley pulls out an alien rifle, but RB just flings it out of his hand. Riley begs for Sheer's help, but Radiant Black goes on about how Sheer can mean many things, like break, and then proceeds to snap both of Riley's arms. The next page shows the warehouse on fire and Radiant Black walking away from it looking menacing. On the next page, we see news coverage of the aftermath showing that Sheer and Riley were arrested, but that Shift is still at large. We then see Marshal at the bar when Nathan sits down with him and they have another talk. Marshal says all three came out alive and then asks Nathan how else he can disappoint him. Nathan expresses that he apologizes how he worded things before. He says he was just worried for Marshal. Nathan says he just had to get used to their new dynamic, that Marshal is on the front side of big things and that Nathan should be there as a friend. Marshal also concedes that he understands why Nathan is worried. Marshal then says they'll be fine as friends because Marshal knows he can depend on Nathan to be there. As they walk away from the bar, Marshal looks upset. I'll be honest, I'm not sure why he is though. I figured they had their end of the episode makeup talk and things were relatively okay now. Maybe Marshal doesn't believe in Nathan's commitment as a friend. Anyways, as Nathan walks away, the robot reaches out to Nathan again. This time, he takes up the robot's greeting. The last page shows Shear's drone in the rubble of the warehouse. A fireman picks it up and he claims that someone forgot it, and we end issue 14. Marshal is becoming a menace. Throughout this issue, he decimated his villain's base and halted production of more suits by breaking both arms of their engineer, all while being gassed up by the media. I would usually cheer on a hero for taking initiative, but something doesn't feel right. It all feels morally ambiguous because the villains really had it coming, but then again, it's not like Marshal had a heart of gold doing the whole thing. Anyways, thank you for watching.